One more thing I must mention. Norman Woodstock, Bowling Bear, Roan Path radio broadcast. And the Aaron Campbell massacre. And the Logic massacre following it and preceding it. That Aaron Campbell was a victim of the absence of logic more than anything. So was the police officer. So is the whole community, because you can't have a discussion about it. You are a victim. When you can't back up and learn things like that and have an honest discussion about it, you're really sad. Said Ebenezer Scrooge, and I agree with him. He called you humbug because you're a coward to talk about it. He kept telling Cratchit, you coward. Cratchit just couldn't quite get to the point. Yeah, like a lot of their employees. Yay, Ebenezer. Well, Ebenezer came around, we all came. Backed up, remembered more. Of course, he had a goose. He had some money to buy the goose. Always bugged me. The real tragedy is in that home, and it's present in a lot of homes that the police would have never been called. The comfort could have been added to Aaron Campbell at home. You never needed to call the police. Why didn't that happen? I just called the police on my daughter. She's in work release now over it. And yet she was breaking down. I was horrified for her welfare. I could see she was incoherent. Only the police have never known what to do when you call them. And they turn you over to somebody who's far less trained to know what to do after you call them. So when you call 911, there's no one trained. And yet you're in such a panic, your family member's breaking down and no one will help you. And I called for help that morning and no one would help me. Just somebody to help me talk to her. She was breaking down and really losing it. She has traumatic stress disorder. May God damn the process of handling that with this globe. Because it starts when the child is first born. You see that baby crying, that's traumatic stress disorder. Dumbass. Live with it. And handle it very, very wisely. Because that infant cries because of traumatic stress disorder. Stupid. Get out of its way and let it cry all of its life. When you look at the place you brought that infant and where it has to die, you never made it better for that infant its whole life. Not one time. For 3.5 million years, you have robbed the best interest of that infant. Crying with traumatic stress disorder to the day it dies. And they cry quietly and silently, only they hit the grave crying here. Yes, they do. Holding hands, laughing their way to the grave. Like whistling in the graveyard after dark. All the laughter of this planet right now. All the glee, it's whistling in the graveyard after dark right now, planet-wide. Want to bet? Like it? Have a discussion about it. It can get worse. Only really what happens is you just go hungrier more. More of you every day. Hungrier here, hungrier here. Huh? Confession time, not peace time. This is absolutely not the time for peace, and Christ mentioned that 2,000 years ago. It's not the time for peace, time for chores. Kennedy said it. A lot of people said it. You say it, citizen. And comfort your hurting at home. So you never call the police. No, I agree. I didn't know how to do it either. She was it. I don't know what Aaron Campbell was doing that morning when my daughter was acting. She really wasn't threatening enough. I should have left it alone because she wasn't acting that threatening. I should have left it alone. Because when I overacted to her not acting threatening is when she got threatening. So I'm very sorry I handled it that way. Because no one else around her now, they're jading her more and she's got traumatic. All they're doing is adding time to her getting better. They should be sued royally. And I wouldn't sue the state. Nope. Those individual people and whoever trained them to college, I'd sue that, not the state. The state has no more business being liable for these people than nothing. Take their house away from them. Put them in the street. You gotta take care of them as homeless. They're better off homeless than there are employees. They really are. Sue the bejeebies out of them. Citizens, only the Bar Association is not letting you get to them. For the state to be liable for these people's behavior is asinine. No, Brenda needs sued. Everything about her taken away from her. Big time. You're a high harp. You don't know how to handle anybody. This caseworker told my daughter, "You'll never see your daughter again." Think about that. Brenda, I hope anything precious to you passes away in your arms like it did with my daughter. I want everyone who viciously attacks Dawn Pearson for something precious to be taken away from your arms. I want it to die in your arms like it did my daughter. I mean that. Absolutely. I could picture that happening. It would absolutely happen. Especially to her mother. I don't know what's precious to her mother, but I want something precious to her to die in her arms. Because she doesn't consider her children precious. So whatever is precious to her mother, I want to die in her arms. So she'll know what my daughter's going through. They don't get to... you just got to put yourself in the other guy's shoes. Don't let that same thing happen to you and you get in those shoes. That's the only reason I say that. It's not grudge. You need to get in those shoes. All of you need to get in each other's tragedy. I wish it on you. Then you'll put each other's shoes on. I have sympathy for each other. And then it's a nice place to live, right? Well, you're lucky I can't picture it. But by God, Glinka, like I dream a genie, it's done. And I want to watch the parade after that. Got it? That's something Hebrew monarchs is passion for. My Uncle Saul and I had a conversation about that last night. I'll be back. Bare Bones Broadcasting. Am I waking you up? That's my job as a radio broadcaster. To wake you up, give you something to conceptually think about. Am I doing that? Because that's what I'm up to.